Welcome back to Real Estate is Crazy.
Welcome back, guys.
Episode 2.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. How was your week? That good?
Fun in a weird way.
Okay, tell me.
How about you?
Well, I woke up this morning to a text from a client with a picture of a giant rat just saying like, hey, what do we do? And I'm
Did
like,
they not listen to our last episode? We discussed rats pretty thoroughly.
We did. I mean, I said I can refer, obviously we can refer a company to come out and take care of it, but I was like, are you expecting me to come out and take care of it? Because I don't think killing rats is part of my wheelhouse of services.
You know, our job description is so open-ended. People really do expect some weird stuff.
It really is. And they call us for everything, which is great. Because I love that I have that connection with them, that they feel like they can call me about everything.
To some degree.
I don't think I'm going to come over there and kill their rat.
It can be easily abused, the rights that you're referring to. I do the same. I'm kind of a handyman agent, so if there's something that needs to get done, I do it in most cases. Last year, 2 years ago, three years ago, wow. Time flies.
Yeah,
it's because COVID. My good agent friend Bruce and I pulled a shed about 300 yards with a forklift that we rented because it was on top of the gas line out in Palma Valley.
So you just dragged a shed across the
Yeah, it's a story for another episode.
Yard?
I don't know how I just mentioned that, but we do weird shit. The truth is, 2 days ago, I helped a U.S. bank crew and a charity fix up a sweet little grandma named Alice, her house. Aww. And it was the most fulfilling thing I ever did.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I thought to myself, man, nobody else enjoys the grime under the grandma's sink.
Yeah, no.
I enjoy it. I literally do.
You like that?
Oh, well, it's because I know that she's going to have sound plumbing with no leaks. It makes me feel...
Well, of course that. I mean,
I've tuned the grime out.
When you say grime underneath the sink, it's a trigger for me
it's
because
nasty.
I've seen some nasty stuff under people's sinks.
Okay, anyway, so
yes.
That's kind of where my week has been, sort of.
Okay.
I want to hear about this rat. So she sends you this picture.
He
okay.
He said,
Sounds,
it's brothers.
Sounds like a man.
It's two identical twin brothers that bought identical twin townhomes next to each other, and they,
they have identical twin cars too.
I don't know if it's identical twin cars, but I know for a fact they have identical twin shoes and furniture. So I saw it myself. But yeah, I guess they have a storage area in the house, and they went in there and they had noticed like scratching claw marks at the door. Mm-hmm. And then today they sent me a photo, so I'll have to post that photo. It is a giant rat, and I'm like
New York subway
yeah,
style?
like the tail's like this long.
So the thing about rats is where there's one, there are many.
I know. That's what's mortifying.
There's a family in there somewhere, so you know what to do, how to advise. Yeah. But I think it's great that they come to you for this shit. It's like we do dream of it. We want our clients, the ones we like, to call us for weird stuff because it makes us feel some sort of satisfaction.
Yeah, it does. And so in our business, when we do feel like there's a hole in our business and what we're helping our clients with, I always like to learn more. I don't know if that makes any sense, but on today's episode, the story that I have to share is actually it's not by a realtor, it's by a State Farm agent.
Oh, is that the Dix guy with the name spelled like Cox?
Yeah, Luke Dix. It's D-I-X. He's amazing. And
that's right. You interviewed him before, and he gave a story. I want to see. Yeah,
we're gonna play that story, and you've seen the commercials. Oh, it's Jake from State Farm. Who are you calling at 2:00 in the morning? Jake from State Farm. Mm-hmm. Or like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand everything they do until I talked to Luke, and he told me some of his stories. And this one that we're about to share is the biggest one that really has stuck with him over the years. And it blew my mind, honestly, to hear this story. So we're going to push play.
The insurance game is even crazier than the real estate game.
I know.
Sometimes.
Well, we're going to get into that.
Well, okay.
All right. I'm sure you have a lot of different things you've dealt with over the years and crazy things that have happened, but what story has stood out the most?
Yeah, I would have to say one that has stood out the most to me, that has really reflected the type of service and the type of relationships that we develop with our customers, is one that's happened several years back, again, in reinforcing to myself and to my staff, like what we do is important. We had a staff meeting that morning, and right at 9 o'clock, the phone rang, and it was a young lady who was sort of out of breath, and you could tell that she was panicked and something was wrong. And I said, "What's wrong? What's going on?" She said, "Well, my house is on fire." And I said, "Your house is on fire? Are you okay?" And she says, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I said, "Well, have you called the fire department?" And she says, "No, I haven't even called them yet. The first thing I thought was to call you." And I thought, I want you to hang up with me right now. You're going to hang up, and you're going to call the fire department. And have them come out there and take care of things. And then once you call them, I want you to call me right back. So immediately I go into this mode of, okay, let's jump into action. We got to figure out what we're going to do. Went to look her profile up in the computer to kind of see and made sure that she had what kind of coverage she had and what we needed to do. And to my horror, I looked at her policy and realized that she did not have the right policy that she needed to in place. Oh, no. And sort of my heart sunk, and I began to panic. And I said, okay, when she calls me back, what am I going to do? And so I called our claims office and I said, hey, look, this is not in good order. I noticed I had a note that the husband was supposed to call us back to give us some updated information, and he had not done that yet. Oh, no. And I said, what can we do here? This poor girl, she's in a real bind here. And they said, okay, we'll find out what's going on and then get back to us. She called back after the fire department was on the way. And I said, tell me a little bit about what happened here. And she says, Luke, it was the worst thing ever. She said, my husband left to go to work. And when he was gone, the fire had started downstairs. And I woke up to smoke in my room. And this is a lady that was 8 months pregnant. She immediately just said, I didn't know what to do. And so she looked for kind of a way out. The fire had kind of at the bottom of the stairs. And so she ended up running down the stairs, and there was a big window towards the landing of the stairs. Mm-hmm. And she says, all I could think to do was just jump through the window. Oh, and so she literally jumped through a glass window to save herself and her soon-to-be baby. Oh my gosh. And I just thought, my heart went out to her, and she says, we just had a baby shower, and all the new baby clothes, the crib, and everything is burning up in the fire. So eventually the fire department got there, and then they took her, of course, into the ambulance. And so I said, where are you going? And she told us the hospital that she was going to. So then I immediately called back to State Farm, and I said, here's the deal. This is what's going on. And they said, here's what we want you to do. We're going to honor the claim. And what I want you to do is, all of us at State Farm, as State Farm agents, they give us the ability to be able to write claim checks, that we actually don't need to wait for the claims office. They said, if you can tell that it's covered, you're authorized, just go ahead and write her a check to get her going, and to make sure they've got a place to stay, make sure that they've got clothes and something to eat. Mm-hmm. And so I gathered my team and I said, hey, let's go to the hospital. And so we went and grabbed some flowers and balloons, and we had a check in hand. Her husband had finally gotten there and able to give that to him. And so I guess that whole thing, it was one of the most rewarding moments in my career.
I feel like the word tragedy is not a big enough word.
Yeah. I mean, imagine losing everything, plus you're having a baby. You have no home, you have no stuff.
And you just jumped out a window. Yeah.
And
I assume she had a broken leg or something.
Two-story window? We didn't even get into injuries, but she was in the hospital and, she survived. But the fact that Luke was able to, he works for a company that values their customers and...
Or that trusts their agents.
Yeah. Like, how many times have you... Are we still recording? Oh, sweet. Okay. How many times... how many times have you heard of people having a leak and they have to wait a week or 2 weeks for the adjuster to come out, and then mold has set in, and State Farm gives them the authority to start writing those checks right away, so that the owner can get people in to start doing the work.
You know, I think it's interesting. It's probably a testament to why State Farm is still writing policies in California, because if you know about the current insurance climate, it's very hard to get policies on any property that's nearby open space.
Yes.
Literally, if you haven't been dropped, you're going to be soon.
Yeah.
I'm a candidate for that, so hopefully not knocking on the real wood, yeah. But essentially, it's just a really hard time to insure property in California because of the fire climate and because of the losses that insurance companies have paid out.
Yeah.
And it's all a game for them with their billions and trillions
And you know, insurance companies, I think, get a bad rep the way real estate agents get a bad rep. And it used to be back in the day that you had your family insurance person and they covered you for everything, life, auto, and if you had a problem, you went straight to that person. And that is not the case. Now you're on the phone, you're talking to 5 different people, you're being transferred from one to the other.
Yeah, it's like a representation of how impersonal business has become.
Totally impersonal. And if you watch those State Farm commercials, which I don't think they even do their company justice, what they say is, listen, you're calling the same person. You're talking to the same person. You're not going to 5 different people.
You know what that is? That's accountability.
Yeah.
And also there's a term which I really like. It's Amazon fulfillment.
Yeah.
Fulfillment, right? Because you can promise things, but until you actually deliver what you promised, that fulfillment component isn't there. And that's where Amazon has thrived in that, you know, they may not have the best price, but you're sure going to find it and you're going to get it when they say you're going to get it.
Yeah, but some things, cheapest isn't always best, you know?
Well, that's why the Amazon
insurance
sellers.
is one of it.
Yeah, you know, they have a variety of sellers on there, right? And that's why you only really trust the Amazon ones. The rest of them, you know,
yeah. I mean, some things it's worth the extra money, and I would say insurance is one of them, because no one can predict when something's going to happen. But when it does, the last thing you want to be doing is dealing with a crappy insurance company.
Oh, man, I can think of some stories that my clients have told me over the years.
Yeah, in some situations.
So, you know, obviously, after watching this video and seeing the desperation that this woman must have felt in order to jump out of a window, a second-story window, right?
Yeah.
You know, that... it says a lot. I mean, I'm sure there have been lots of people who've been in a similar situation and not jumped out the window and perished.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a kind of a leap of faith.
Yeah, it's fight or flight. It's, you know, what are you going to do to save yourself and save your baby? And that was her only option. And the fact that their situation was made less tragic because Luke and his team stepped in to help them is... It's a very heartwarming situation.
I just think, like, a pregnant woman is going to jump 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Everybody else is, you know, stuck in their own head of self-worth and all these issues that we're having these days. And, you know, it's probably 50-50 whether or not they jump.
Well, I'm sure he has a lot more stories, so we will bring him back on. If you're interested in getting a quote from him or just speaking to him, I'm going to put his contact information in the show notes.
The best part is that those group discounts when you combine auto and home, I know I should be doing that.
David.
Mr. Dix, you can reach out to me. Send me a text message, though. No emails about insurance. I try to keep that stuff out of my email
Luke, I'll
box.
send you his information.
But... I'll tell you, it is a hot topic of conversation, this insurance thing. So we're going to have to bring him back to get, you know, some opinions on what the heck is going to happen in California.
I'll have him on the show. His wife messaged me to get breakfast the other day, so.
See, you maintain these relationships that ultimately amount in food.
Yeah, free food.
Well, I mean, for them, I hope. You know, it depends if they're your client. I always have that weird thought, like, is this my client or should we be splitting this check? You know, I always want to pay for the tax deduction, but, you know, it's kind of weird sometimes because sometimes they want my business and they should be buying me lunch.
I think you need to hold them to a higher standard. Yeah, you need to get more food, David.
My wife said yesterday, I think I like only dealing with the boss. And I said, you know, me too.
The boss?
Well, you know, she's dealing with logistics of high school teaching. And so, you know, you deal with a hierarchy of people who are like gatekeepers for the
Yes.
next guy up, and dealing with the boss is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
But I like dealing with the boss too. I don't think anybody doesn't like dealing with the boss. The question is, in that brief period of time you get to talk to the boss, what are you going to say?
Yeah. I don't like dealing with the boss.
So that's why I'm here, to deal with the boss.
Well, thanks for joining us, and tune in next week for another episode of Real Estate is Crazy.
And go save some money on insurance, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a great day.
Bye.